So, Karen Nielsen-Field, the Edinburgh Baxter Institute. Welcome to Unruly.
Thank you.
Your work examines the relationship between emotional intensity and video sharing. Can you tell us what you found?
Well, it's been quite a long journey. We've been testing this for nearly 2 years now. We started with a large user-generated data set, and then we backed it up with a second data set from Unruly with branded videos. So in total, we had 800 videos that we tested. Long story short, we developed an emotional construct which largely came from the psychology literature that kind of categorised emotions into 4 groups. So high arousal positive, low arousal positive, high arousal negative, low arousal negative. We then tested those emotions by getting quite a number of coders to double code each video and to tell us which emotion was evoked when they watched that video. What we found was quite interesting. Firstly, we found that the results held across both sets of data. So for us, that is awesome. We found that high arousal positive emotions by far drive sharing, that high arousal negative emotions drive sharing, but to a lesser extent. But overall positive videos share more than negative videos. So
are there golden rules to follow when creating shareable content?
I think the key for me, looking at the data, is that even though high arousal positive videos were linked to the highest sharing numbers, there were few of them. So what that tells me is that I think about 80% of videos are made poorly without the degree of emotion necessary to drive sharing. So what I would say is know your audience, be less sensitive about your content in terms of it's quite likely that while you might think it's hilarious or inspirational, or it's probably not. So get it tested by a panel. Ensure that a large majority of people think that it is of high arousal value.
And is there an optimum length for video content?
There is. We've just looked at both sets of data, and we found again consistently across data sets that it actually takes time to drive emotion. So we were a little bit surprised about this. We wondered whether duration would have a negative effect on sharing, but it actually doesn't. What we found was slightly longer videos have a positive link to sharing. So we kind of sub-segmented the data and had a look, and we found that it actually takes a while for high arousal emotions to become present. So around the 2 to 3 minute mark is where it hits its optimal length. But then after that, we found, interestingly, that it diminishes. So we can assume that whilst it might be high arousal for a period of time, if it's too long, it gets boring or people kind of turn off.
And does brand prevalence affect sharing?
This is a holy grail question, because all brand managers are told by their production houses to keep the brand away. But actually we find the opposite, that brand prevalence does not have a negative effect on the degree to which the video will be shared. So for us, that's awesome, because marketers should brand away and make sure that at the end of the day, the brand is correctly attributed to the right organisation and not to the competitors. So.
Do you have a personal favourite social video?
Well, I'm a cat lover. So for me, cats with thumbs, catvertising, anything cat. But more recently, being an Aussie, the Metro Trains video that was recently released. Dumb Ways to Die. So it's kind of quirky. It made me laugh. So in my opinion, it was high arousal. It was also shocking because it was a bit wrong. So it's got all the right elements. I think that'll do well.
Now time for the rapid fire round. I'm going to ask you a series of quick either-or questions. So your first gut reaction to cats or dogs?
Cats.
Laptop or tablet?
Oh, laptop. I can't get into my tablet.
Facebook or Twitter?
Facebook.
Survey group or focus?
Survey group.
Karen in the Social Video Lab, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.